It's been about 1975, and she pretty much just decided I was her next boyfriend, which she hadn't had many in the first place, but I wasn't girl popular either.
Regina, how'd you notice him?
Well, like I said, he opened the bus door for me every morning when I got on the bus for school. And he had the hair like down to here and it just laid in curls. And I fell in love with him. And he was shy. You know, he wasn't, rude or anything, but I just knew. I knew he was the one I wanted to marry.
Wow. So how old were you when you got married, and what led up to that?
I was 16. He was 18 when we got married. My parents back then, they had to sign for me to get married.
Well, I won her parents over though. They pretty much fell in love with me and made me another son. And they were like parents to me, so I want to respect them, their memories. But,
Did you meet here in Clinton?
Yeah, we've been in Clinton all of our lives.
So what's your marriage been like these 38 years?
Good times, hard times. Some more hard times. Some more hard times and some good times.
Elaborate. What have, some of the ups and downs been, and how do you get through that, and how do you suggest other couples get through that?
I think our biggest friction point has been finances throughout our life. But it's not her fault, it's not my fault. So we just have to realize that and hang on to each other.
Well, that's the biggest part of it. You be there for each other no matter what. We're not very healthy anymore. I have heart disease, Richard has diabetes. And we're like the blind leading the blind. If he's not taking care of me, I'm taking care of him. And so that's it with a marriage. You have to be there for one another. But in our marriage, without God, we couldn't have made it, because there was a point in our marriage where we wanted to change each other. And Ruth Graham said it perfectly, Billy Graham's wife. She said, I wasn't put in this marriage to change Billy. I was put in here to love Billy. And that's helped me throughout the years to remember what she said. Because when I quit trying to change him, then we really fell in love. Because we fell in love with not what I wanted him to be, but for what he really was. And when God's in your marriage, you can really see that person for what he really is, or she really is. And when I realized that, I realized I loved him more than I had ever loved him before. And since then, our love has grew stronger and stronger. And like I can back up and say, our marriage, we lived it without God, and we've lived it with God. And both of us agree it works much better with God in your marriage, because he's the glue that keeps you together. And that's what's kept us together all these years.
Do you have any other advice, especially, during the bad times, what got you through for other couples?
Well, what are some of the things that you see breaking marriages apart all the time? It's typically infidelity, or it's all kinds of things like that. But we together figure, if you truly love one another, you're going to avoid those issues that can cause trouble in a marriage. You're not always 100% accurate with it, but do the best you can and be forgiving.
Yeah, that's a big part. You have to learn how to forgive, because you're not always going to agree. I don't remember the last fight we had, and that's the honest to God truth. We don't fight anymore. We thought about everything. There's nothing left.
Our arguments are usually no more than 30 seconds long.
Yeah, so we disagree, but what's the use in arguing over it? That just makes it worse. We don't have a perfect marriage, but we have a good marriage, and we have a strong marriage, and we're both proud of that.
And going into the future?
Well, we're so dependent on each other for every aspect of our lives. Me with this diabetes, she watches over me. Her with her heart disease, I have to watch over her. And we don't do nothing without the other knowing what I'm doing. I mean, today we have cell phones and we can text on them. If I go up in the woods to cut firewood, she's constantly texting me, "How are you doing?" You're just keeping in close contact. And like I say, you just have to respect that, because you need it. I mean, if it weren't for, I've told her this, if it weren't for her, if her heart disease had killed her, I would be right behind her, because I couldn't survive very long without her. Because there's been many a night that my blood sugars would drop so severe that I would go into a diabetic coma, and I'm virtually dead. And the only way to get me to respond is for her to call emergency services to give me glucose injection to get me back out of it. Without that, within just a few hours, I'll be dead. I depend on her for that.
And you, Regina? Going into the future?
Well, every night when I pray, I ask God to allow us to have many more years together, many more healthier years together. And that's what I pray for our future. Many more happy years together.
Just keep laughing. That's the best I do.
Yeah, I mean, we laugh at each other all the time. And why not, you know? But I love him just the way he is.
And I'm cute.
And he's cute, yes. Actually, I think he's cuter now than he ever was. But he don't have many hairs, so he's only got 3.
Yeah, I got 3.
Back then he had hair down to here.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing your story with us.